Have you ever stopped to think about this? I mean, why is it that some elements have these wild personalities? You've got sodium metal, which is so reactive it literally explodes when you drop it in water. And then on the other hand, you've got neon gas, which is so chill it just glows peacefully in a sign and doesn't bother anyone. What makes them so incredibly different?
Well, it turns out the answer, the secret code to this whole chemical drama, is a concept called ionization energy. And today, we're going to crack that code together. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with our elemental mystery. Then we'll define the main clue, what I like to call the price of an electron. After that, we'll uncover some super predictable patterns, look at the forces behind them, and finally, we'll see why any of this actually matters. All right, first up, our elemental mystery. Let's really dig into these unique chemical personalities.
Think of it like this. Sodium is the ultimate social butterfly of the periodic table. It is desperate to make a connection, and its go-to move is to give away its outermost electrons super easily. But neon? Oh, neon is a total wallflower. It holds on to its electrons so tightly and has absolutely zero interest in reacting with, well, anything.
Okay, so to solve this mystery, we've got to introduce our main clue. Let's talk about the price of an electron, or, as chemists call it, ionization energy.
Okay, so the official textbook definition is the minimum energy needed to remove the most loosely bound electron from a neutral atom in a gaseous state. But let's just cut to the chase. It's basically the energy bill you have to pay to pluck one electron off an atom. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's really the best way to think about it. It's a cost. If that cost is low, like it is for our friend sodium, then that electron is easy to get. If the cost is super high, like for neon, well, that electron is staying right where it is.
The whole process is actually pretty straightforward. You start with your basic neutral atom. You zap it with just the right amount of energy and bam, the outermost electron gets kicked right off. What you're left with is a positively charged atom, which we just call an ion. And the amount of energy it took to do that, that's your ionization energy.
All right, so we know what this energy is, but here's where it gets really, really interesting. This cost isn't random at all. Turns out there are these beautiful, predictable patterns hidden in plain sight, right there on the periodic table.
It all boils down to two super simple rules. As you move from left to right across a row, what's called a period, the cost to remove an electron goes up. And as you move from top to bottom down a column or a group, that cost goes down. It's this incredibly organized system.
Let's put some real numbers on this, okay? Take sodium, way over on the left side of its row. Its ionization energy, measured in kilojoules per mole, is pretty low, just 496. Now, slide all the way over to the right side to argon, a noble gas, and whoa, we're talking 1521. It takes more than 3 times the energy to rip an electron from argon than it does from sodium. That's a huge difference.
Okay, so we've seen the what, we see the patterns. But the really cool part, the part that makes it all make sense, is the why. What is actually happening inside these atoms to cause these trends? Well, it all comes down to a battle of forces. See, inside every single atom, there's this constant tug of war going on. On one side, you have the positive nucleus that's pulling all the negative electrons in. But on the other side, you have the inner electrons that are pushing the outer electrons away, kind of shielding them from the nucleus's pull. And whoever wins this tug of war, that's what sets the ionization energy.
So why does the cost go up as you go across a row? Well, as you move from left to right, you keep adding more protons to the nucleus. That makes the pull a lot stronger. But you're not adding any new layers of electrons, so that push from the shielding effect stays about the same. The nucleus wins, and it grips all the electrons that much tighter.
And what about going down a column? Why does it get easier? Well, now you're adding whole new layers, new shells of electrons. This does 2 big things. First, it pushes that outermost electron farther away from the nucleus. And second, it seriously increases the shielding, that push from all the new inner electrons. The pull from the nucleus gets way weaker, making it a piece of cake to just pluck that outer electron away.
All right, this is the moment where it all clicks. We've got the costs, we've got the forces, so let's finally connect this all back to our exploding metal and our glowing sign.
And here it is, the big takeaway. A low ionization energy means it's cheap to lose an electron, right? So that element is going to be super reactive, always looking to give that electron away and form a chemical bond. That's sodium. Its low cost is what makes it so eager and so explosive.
And you guessed it, the opposite is just as true. A high ionization energy?
That means the atom is holding on to its electrons for dear life. It has absolutely no desire to lose one, so it doesn't form bonds. It's stable, it's inert, it's non-reactive. That's neon, perfectly happy all on its own. Mystery solved.
And if you're still not totally convinced, just look at this. This is magnesium. To pull off its first electron, it costs 738 units, okay? The second one, about double that, at 1451. But then, you try to take a third one, look at that number. It skyrockets to over 7,700. Why that insane jump? Because after it loses 2 electrons, magnesium has a perfectly full, stable inner shell, just like a noble gas. And that atom will fight like crazy to protect that stable core.
That's not just a little jump. That's more than a 5 times increase in energy. That massive leap tells us everything we need to know. Chemistry isn't just about random electrons. It's about this relentless drive for stability. That stable core is like a chemical fortress, and the ionization energy is the crazy high price you'd have to pay to even try and break in.
So, in the end, ionization energy really is the key that unlocks an element's entire chemical personality. It tells us if it's going to be a giver or a holder of electrons, reactive or stable. Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge secrets about how the universe works are just sitting there, hiding in plain sight, right on the periodic table?